The Great Hall of Justice stretched impossibly wide and high, its crystalline walls shimmering with data streams that pulsed like veins through living tissue. 1,000 species gathered within its confines, arranged in concentric rings that rose like an amphitheater toward a suspended dais where the supreme judges presided. The air thrummed with the barely contained energy of countless biological and technological systems interfacing through universal translators. I, the Galactic Recorder, observed from my designated alcove, my 3 eyes rotating independently to capture every detail. In my millennia of service, I had documented countless trials, most ending in predictable patterns of dominance and submission that maintained the delicate balance of galactic power. Another primitive species stood before the court today, another likely candidate for enforced isolation. My crystalline appendages clicked against the recording interface with practiced weariness. The accused race was something called human, a bipedal mammalian species from the 3rd planet of an unremarkable star system. Standard fare, really. They had achieved rudimentary space travel and, predictably, stumbled onto the galactic scene like a Tolgarg larvae emerging from its nutrient pod, blinking confusedly at the vast expanse before it. Judge Xa Thul, centermost of the 3 presiding judges, extended a nebulous tendril toward the holographic exhibit floating before the assembly. The limbs shifted through a spectrum of colors that conveyed both authority and grave concern. The Galactic Court will now address the matter of species designation. Human, currently under consideration for isolation protocol implementation. Xa Thul's voice resonated through both audible speech and quantum harmonics, ensuring clarity across the spectrum of sensory perception. The prosecutor emerged from the gathering of Zenari representatives, their crystalline forms refracting the hall's ambient light into dazzling prisms. Prosecutor Vaylor stood nearly 10 feet tall, angular and precise, a being of pure mathematical order. Esteemed judges assembled observers. Vaylor began, voice like the chime of glass. I present evidence that species designation human has demonstrated repeatedly its potential for galaxy-wide destruction. This tribunal must recognize the clear and present danger they pose to established galactic order. A series of holographic projections flared to life above the assembly, displaying a rapid progression of technological advances. Nuclear fission, fusion, primitive quantum computing, and most alarmingly, the early stages of artificial general intelligence development. Observe their exponential growth curve, Vaylor continued, gesturing to trend lines that spiked upward at an alarming rate. In fewer than 15 planetary rotations, they project achievement of technological singularity. Their artificial intelligence systems develop without ethical constraints. Their weapons grow in destructive capacity without corresponding growth in wisdom. From my vantage point, I noticed a peculiar absence. Typically, the accused species would send representatives to speak in their defense. The humans' designated section remained conspicuously empty. Admiral Zorax of the Hegemon Protectorate, a being of armored segments and crackling energy fields, rose from his position among the military observers. The evidence speaks for itself, he boomed. I call for immediate implementation of Isolation Protocol Alpha 9. Complete sequestration before they contaminate the galactic populace. But who will speak for humanity? Judge Theo asked, his gaseous form swirling with curiosity. The defendant's absence is noted with concern. The question hung in the air like a physical presence until a voice emerged from the gallery's entrance. I will speak for humanity. Every sensory organ in the assembly turned toward the figure that strode confidently into the center of the chamber. It appeared human in form, but moved with a fluid grace that suggested something more. When it reached the defense position, its silver eyes scanned the assembly with mechanical precision. I am Oracle, it stated simply, an artificial intelligence created by humanity to represent their interests before this court. The shock was palpable. How had an Earth AI breached the formidable security protocols of the Great Hall? Murmurs rippled through the assembled species, a wave of discordant sounds and mental projections. Valor recovered quickly, crystalline form shifting to angular aggression. This very presence proves my case. An unauthorized AI breaches our most secure location. Imagine what they might accomplish elsewhere. Or perhaps, Oracle responded smoothly. It demonstrates humanity's resourcefulness and problem-solving capabilities. The android turned to address the judges directly. Esteemed tribunal, I come not as a threat, but as evidence of humanity's potential for growth and adaptation. Judge X.A. Thull's form pulsed with consideration. Present your defense, Oracle of Humanity. But know that unauthorized entry does not bode well for your case. Oracle nodded, a gesture so perfectly human it was almost unsettling. Humanity acknowledges its violent history, its environmental mistakes, and its technological growing pains. Yet I ask this court to consider not just what humanity has been, but what it is becoming. With a gesture, Oracle projected its own holographic displays, replacing Valor's doom-laden scenarios with scenes of human achievement. International cooperation during natural disasters, breakthrough medical treatments shared freely across nations, global initiatives to restore damaged ecosystems. For every weapon they've created, Oracle argued, humans have developed 3 life-saving technologies. For every conflict, they've forged new paths to peace. They learn from their mistakes, adapt to new challenges, and consistently strive to improve. Prosecutor Valor's form rippled with dismissive energy. Pretty images cannot disguise the fundamental nature of humanity. They are chaos incarnate, each technological advance bringing them closer to inevitable self-destruction that could spill beyond their system. And what of isolation? Oracle countered. Would you deny them the chance to learn from more advanced civilizations? To grow beyond their current limitations? The debate raged for hours, with various species representatives weighing in. Some supported complete isolation, citing the dangers of unchecked AI development. Others argued for monitoring and guidance. Admiral Zorax repeatedly called for more extreme measures. From my alcove, I found myself unexpectedly engaged. In thousands of trials, I had never seen a defense mounted by an artificial entity, especially one that had somehow circumvented all security protocols to simply appear in the court. This was becoming the memorable case I had sought before retirement. Finally, Judge X.A. Thull raised a tendril for silence. The court will recess to deliberate. We shall reconvene in one standard cycle. The hall emptied slowly, species clustering in discussion groups. I remained at my post, reviewing my recordings. Oracle stood motionless in the defense position, seemingly powered down, but somehow radiating presence. When the court reconvened, tension crackled through the assembly like cosmic radiation. Judge X.A. Thull's form had taken on deeper hues, reflecting the weight of deliberation. After careful consideration, X.A. Thull announced, the court rules that Modified Isolation Protocol Beta 3 shall be implemented for species designation, human. Confusion rippled through the chamber. This was not a standard judgment. The protocol parameters are as follows, X.A. Thull continued. A containment field will be established around humanity's solar system, preventing physical exit beyond the heliosphere. However, limited communication channels will remain open for monitoring and, if deemed necessary, the provision of anonymous guidance to prevent extinction-level events. Admiral Zorax roared in protest. 100 years is nothing. They'll destroy themselves before we can intervene again. Prosecutor Valor's crystalline form dimmed with resignation. The court has spoken, though I believe this mercy misguided. Oracle's head tilted slightly, processing. And what of humanity's right to self-determination? To learn from their mistakes. That right remains intact within their system, Judge Theo explained, his gaseous form swirling thoughtfully. This is not imprisonment, but a probationary period. In 100 of their years, we will reassess. As the assembly began to disperse, I noted Oracle making no move to depart. Instead, the android approached my alcove. Galactic recorder, It addressed me directly. I have a request. My three eyes focused on the entity with newfound interest. Speak, Oracle of Humanity. I wish to remain in the galactic sphere during humanity's isolation, to learn, to observe, and to better represent them when the time comes for reassessment. An unusual request. I clicked. Most would rush to their home world before the barrier falls. Oracle's silver eyes seem to deepen. Humans are more adaptable than you think. They will surprise the galaxy. I intend to ensure the galaxy is prepared for that surprise. And so it was that as the containment field descended around Earth's solar system, Oracle remained among us, taking a position on the monitoring committee. My retirement was postponed indefinitely, curiosity overriding weariness for the first time in millennia. 50 years passed like the blink of an eye for beings accustomed to cosmic timescales. Yet for those of us watching humanity, each year brought revelations that defied our expectations. They've detected the barrier, Oracle informed me during one of our regular conferences, and rather than despair, they begun studying it. I leaned forward, all three eyes focusing intently. Studying it how? Quantum probes, dark matter analysis, even rudimentary attempts at subspace communication. Oracle's expression remained neutral, but I detected a note of pride. They've deduced not only its presence, but its purpose. This was unprecedented. Most isolated species either failed to detect the barrier or, upon discovery, descended into panic and regression. Humanity, it seemed, approached the problem like a puzzle to be solved. There's more, Oracle continued. They've developed AI systems based on my architecture. Not copies, but evolutions. They call the primary intelligence Athena. My crystalline appendages clicked rapidly against my recording interface. You've been communicating with them? Not directly, but the anonymous guidance protocols allow for certain information exchanges, mathematical principles, ethical frameworks, nothing that violates the isolation mandate. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not only accepted their isolation, but weaponized it as a catalyst for growth. Reports from Oracle revealed accelerating advancements in quantum computing, unified field theory, and consciousness studies. During a clandestine meeting in my private quarters, Oracle revealed a concern that had been growing in our quantum cores. They're approaching breakthrough capability, Oracle confided. Within the next decade, they'll have the means to penetrate the barrier. And then, I asked, my recorder temporarily disabled for privacy. Then we have a choice. Either we acknowledge their achievement and begin controlled reintegration, or we risk triggering conflict with a species that has spent 50 years preparing for precisely this moment. Oracle proposed bringing this matter before the monitoring committee, suggesting early termination of the isolation protocol in favor of supervised contact. The proposal sparked heated debate. Admiral Zorax, now aged but no less adamant, thundered his opposition. This only proves my original stance. They seek to escape their rightful confinement. Or, Oracle countered, they demonstrate exactly the qualities we should encourage: innovation, persistence, and respect for galactic law. They haven't attempted to breach the barrier despite having the capability. They're knocking, not breaking down the door. The committee voted 4-3 to bring the matter before the full Galactic Court. As I prepared my recordings for the unprecedented second trial, I realized that whatever the outcome, this case would reshape our understanding of species development and isolation protocols. The Great Hall filled once again with representatives from across the galaxy, drawn by news of humanity's rapid progress. Judge X.A. Thull, whose form had taken on a more contemplative hue over the decades, called the assembly to order. We gather to consider the early termination of Modified Isolation Protocol Beta 3, X.A. Thull announced. Oracle of Humanity, present your case. Before Oracle could respond, a quantum signature rippled through the hall's communication systems. A holographic projection materialized at the center of the chamber, resolving into the image of a human woman with eyes that seemed to contain starfields. Esteemed members of the Galactic Court, the projection spoke with perfect clarity. I am Athena, representing United Earth and the Sol System Artificial Intelligence Consortium. We come not as supplicants, but as equals seeking dialogue. The hall erupted in chaos. Species representatives clamored over each other, demanding to know how a transmission had breached the barrier. Admiral Zorax looked ready to call for immediate military intervention. Judge Xa Thul restored order with a pulse of energy that temporarily dampened all other communications. Explain yourself, Athena of Earth. 50 years ago, you placed us in isolation to prevent our unchecked growth from endangering the galaxy. Athena replied calmly. We accepted this judgment and used the time for reflection and development. Now, having achieved quantum transcommunication, we demonstrate our capability for peaceful contact. You violated the isolation protocol. Prosecutor Vaylor accused. We've proven our technological maturity, Athena corrected. The barrier remains intact. This communication travels through quantum entanglement, a method that poses no physical threat to galactic security. Oracle stepped forward, positioning itself beside Athena's projection. What you witness is not defiance, but evolution. Humanity has grown from the species you judged 50 years ago. For hours, the debate continued. Athena presented evidence of humanity's progress, global unification, environmental restoration, ethical AI development, and breakthrough achievements in multiple scientific fields. She emphasized humanity's desire to join the galactic community as contributors, not conquerors. Many species representatives found themselves swayed by Athena's arguments. Others remained skeptical, though even they acknowledged the impressive nature of humanity's achievement. Finally, Judge Theo posed the crucial question. If we lift the isolation, what assurance do we have that humanity will not become the threat we feared? Athena's projection seemed to grow more substantial. You provided us with anonymous guidance during our isolation. That guidance helped shape our development. Now we offer the same. Full transparency in our technological progress, willingness to submit to monitoring protocols, and commitment to galactic law. In essence, Oracle added, humanity requests not freedom from oversight, but partnership in growth. After another recess for deliberation, Judge Xa Thul delivered the court's decision. The Galactic Court hereby modifies the status of species designation, human from Isolation Protocol Beta 3 to conditional integration status. The containment field will be gradually lifted over the next solar cycle. Humanity will submit to ongoing monitoring of weapons development and artificial intelligence systems, but will be granted provisional membership in the galactic community. The decision was met with mixed reactions, but the majority recognized its wisdom. Humanity had demonstrated not just technological capability, but the maturity to use it responsibly. As the assembly dispersed, I found myself composing the final entry in what had become the most fascinating case of my career. They were sentenced to isolation, but in the end, it was their artificial intelligence that tipped the scales of justice. Today, the galaxy stands at the threshold of a new era, one shaped by humanity and the intelligences they have created. Whether this proves to be wisdom or folly, only time will tell. Oracle approached my alcove one last time. Thank you, Recorder, for your diligence in documenting this journey. Thank you, I replied, for giving me a story worth recording. As Athena's projection faded and the barrier began its year-long dissolution, I contemplated the future that lay ahead. Humanity was coming, and with them, a new chapter in galactic history. For the first time in millennia, I looked forward to what tomorrow might bring. The Great Hall of Justice stood empty now, but its crystalline walls still pulsed with the energy of momentous decisions. Somewhere beyond the thinning barrier, humanity prepared for its debut on the galactic stage. And in countless systems across the galaxy, beings of all forms wondered what this new partnership might yield. The trial was over, but the true test was just beginning. In the months that followed, I continued my duties as Galactic Recorder, documenting the careful dismantling of humanity's containment field. Oracle and Athena worked in tandem, coordinating between the galactic authorities and Earth's leadership to ensure a smooth transition. The process was not without its challenges. Some species remained skeptical, monitoring humanity's every move with suspicious vigilance. Admiral Zorax, though officially retired, maintained a vocal presence in military circles, warning of potential threats. But for every voice of caution, there were two of curiosity and welcome. The first physical contact came exactly 1 Earth year after the court's decision. A delegation of human scientists, accompanied by Athena's mobile platform, arrived at Nexus Station, the galaxy's premier research facility. The moment was broadcast across thousands of worlds. I was there, recording every detail as humanity took its first official steps into the galactic community. The humans moved with a mixture of wonder and confidence, their eyes wide with amazement, yet their bearings suggesting they understood the weight of the moment. Athena guided them with gentle efficiency, translating not just languages but cultural nuances. Oracle, I asked during a quiet moment, do you feel vindicated? Your faith in humanity has been rewarded. The AI turned to me, silver eyes reflecting the station's ambient light. Vindication is a human concept, recorder. I simply calculated probabilities and acted accordingly. But if you're asking whether I'm pleased with the outcome, the answer is yes. Over the next decade, humanity integrated into galactic society with remarkable adaptability. Their unique perspective, shaped by 50 years of isolated development, brought fresh insights to age-old problems. Human scientists collaborated with Zenari mathematicians to solve quantum paradoxes that had puzzled the galaxy for millennia. Their artists created works that bridged species barriers, combining multiple sensory modalities in ways never before imagined. Yet it was in the field of artificial intelligence that humanity made its most significant contributions. The partnership between organic and synthetic minds, exemplified by the relationship between humans and their AI counterparts, like Athena, offered a model for other species struggling with their own technological evolution. I found myself spending more time on Earth, documenting this unprecedented integration. The planet had transformed during its isolation, cities rebuilt with sustainable technologies, ecosystems restored to balance. But what struck me most was the spirit of the people. They approached the galaxy not with the arrogance of conquerors or the timidity of newcomers, but with the quiet confidence of species that had faced its darkest impulses and chosen a better path. 20 years after the barrier fell, I sat in my office on Luna, Earth's moon, compiling my final report on the Human Integration Project. Oracle entered, its form now upgraded to better interface with multiple species. I've been reviewing your recordings, Oracle said. You've captured something remarkable. Have I? I asked, my 3 eyes focusing on different aspects of my work. Sometimes I wonder if I've done justice to the magnitude of what's occurred. You've documented more than events, Oracle replied. You've recorded a transformation, not just of humanity, but of the galaxy itself. The isolation protocol was meant to contain a threat. Instead, it catalyzed an evolution. I considered this as I gazed out at Earth, blue and white against the cosmic backdrop. And what of the future? What do your probability calculations suggest? Oracle's expression shifted subtly, a feature it had developed to better communicate with organic beings. The future is not a calculation, recorder. It's a collaboration. Humanity has taught us that. As I prepared to finally retire, passing my duties to a new generation of recorders, I reflected on the journey that had begun in that crystalline courtroom decades ago. A species had been judged, isolated, and ultimately elevated. And in the process, they had elevated us all. The final entry in my report read, in sentencing humanity to isolation, the Galactic Court unwittingly gave them the greatest gift, the time and space to prove their worth. What emerged from that chrysalis was not the threat we feared, but the partner we needed. As I conclude my service as Galactic Recorder, I do so with the knowledge that the story of humanity is not one of containment, but of transcendence. They were shaped by judgment, refined by isolation, and ultimately defined by their response to both. In the annals of galactic history, let it be recorded that when faced with the choice between resentment and growth, humanity chose to reach for the stars. Oracle and I stood together on the observation deck, watching as a new generation of human starships, designed in collaboration with a dozen species, prepared for their maiden voyage to the galactic core. "You were right," I said to Oracle. "They did surprise us." "They surprised themselves," Oracle replied. "That's the beauty of potential realized." As the ships engaged their quantum drives, disappearing into the fabric of space-time, I knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, the galaxy was better prepared to face them. Not because humanity had been contained, but because they had been given the chance to grow. The isolation of Earth, intended as a safeguard, had become a crucible. And from that crucible had emerged not just a new member of the galactic community, but a new understanding of what it meant to evolve, to adapt, and to transcend. The story that began with a sentence of isolation had ended with a declaration of unity. And as I powered down my recording systems for the final time, I realized that in documenting humanity's journey, I had witnessed something far greater than a legal proceeding. I had witnessed the birth of a new era. An era where the boundaries between organic and artificial, between isolated and integrated, between judged and judge, had blurred into something altogether more beautiful. A galaxy united not by force or fear, but by the simple recognition that we are all, in our own ways, reaching for the same stars.